On July the 15th and 16th, 2014, Chinese President Xi Jinping is attending the 6th BRICS Summit in Brazil. From July 17th to the 23rd, he will pay state visits to Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, and Cuba. This is Xi Jinping's second visit to Latin America as Chinese president, and his fourth visit to the region in all. On June the 5th, 2013, during a speech to the Senate of Mexico, President Xi used an old Chinese saying, "As distance tests a horse's strength, time reveals a person's heart." The journey shared by China and Latin America has shown, and will continue to show, that bilateral relations are open, inclusive, cooperative, and mutually beneficial.
We've seen that our countries has becoming major trading partners with China, and China is becoming a major foreign investor in our countries, and the political relationship with both countries, with China, Argentina, or China, and most of Latin American countries has been growing very, very fast. So we've seen this in the past. Argentina is an example that has benefited tremendously of the development of China, economic development and social development of China. But of course, we have good relations, political good relations, and we are countries which are very good friends with the same interests, because we are developing countries and emerging economies. So definitely the world will be more and more interrelated with China, and it's a win-win situation.
The fact is, the links between China and the countries of Latin America have a long history.
I don't know if you are aware that 10% of the Peruvian population has some Chinese blood. 1 in 10 Peruvians have some great-great-grandfather coming from China. That means 3 million people in Peru are in a way related to China. And China has been, in the last 160 years, more than 160 years, part of the history of Peru. So we are very much entrenched in our history, and I hope we will be very much entrenched in our future for development.
In the past year, two phrases have been frequently heard in both China and Latin America, namely, deepening reform and economic transformation. As developing economies, the countries of Latin America and China share common goals.
And we see similarities, between Argentine economic policies from Cristina, our president, and the policies, from Xi Jinping, and the new leaders of China. And it has to be related that with the need that we understand that we are both developing countries. That's in a sense means that more or less we have the same domestic political economic agenda, but in the end the objectives are the same. So we can share this kind of experience, and we are doing that.
Their similarities have made deepening reform and economic transformation a common factor understood and supported by both China and the countries of Latin America.
I'm not the one to analyze that. I think the Chinese leadership itself has said consistently that there is a need to change the model. The model has been investments and exports. The model has to be more an inward looking, and that I'm sure that this is already taking place to some extent. I think what happened in China has been a miracle to some extent. Coming down to 7 or so was only natural. So we are not really concerned about deceleration. Of course, there were analysts that were predicting or at least considering that there might be what they would call a hard landing of the Chinese economy. This has not happened so far. This is an equation that China has to make sure it's well balanced, and probably balance would be somewhere in the range of 7% a year. But to me, to us, and I think to the world, this is enough to make a large contribution to the world growth.